So as the live action Snow White that I recently did a review on here on the channel continues to underperform at the box office, there have been a whole heap of rumors circulating on the internets. From Disney dropping the star of the film, Rachel Zegler, from all of the future projects that they had planned for her to star in, to her suing Disney because of it. Some people were even saying that Paramount had also released her from certain projects as well. But there hasn't really been any concrete evidence of that has come out yet, regardless of how disastrous the initial press tour and interviews were. There hasn't really been anything said that made anything sound more than a rumor.
The studio opted for a small LA premiere, held Saturday in the middle of the day with limited press.
Right now, the worldwide box office for the film is at 171 million, but it definitely did better internationally than domestically, but not by a large margin. I personally didn't think the film was horrible, but they did make some changes in my opinion that I don't think were a good idea, such as the no prince thing. It was kind of weird.
There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
They kept saying that the film was being adapted to the times, but the question was, why touch it to begin with? Simply put, if you would just leave the old films alone and make new ones, you wouldn't have to adapt anything. Unless you were trying to make a film from a book, which Disney hasn't done in a while, at least that I know of anyways. So after that, there was allegedly an issue between Rachel and Gal Gadot because Gal is obviously Israeli and Rachel is very much so open about her support for Palestine.
Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler joined together for a drastically scaled-down premiere of Disney's Snow White. Despite reports, there was tension between them.
Disney apparently beefed up security for Gal. But then there were some people coming to Rachel's defense, pointing out that the backlash she's received as a female actress of color is arguably much greater than that faced by white men who've made similar comments. Now, in my opinion, okay, I just want to stress, in my opinion, obviously you're welcome to disagree. But in my opinion, I feel like you might have been able to say or make that type of argument a decade or two ago. But in this day and age, I've seen the opposite. But I think that's an argument for a whole other day because that's probably going to trigger some folks. But again, I do want to stress that's just based on what I've seen. However, there was also another comment that was made about that I thought was pretty interesting from a film critic by the name of Kelechi Ehelnu. I'm probably botching that, but I did my best. So they said, "What irks me is how easy actors become targets for backlash on social media. And yet the culture of silence from studios, news outlets, and social media platforms says it all. The lack of public protection means the toxicity continues to fester and rise. It's the Wild West out there, and I can't see it getting better when this has been normalized to such an extent." Now, I thought they brought up a pretty good point because before Rachel really even got a chance to open her mouth to ruin the film some more, Disney kind of already made things pretty rough for her. First of all, they knew that they were getting some backlash for even touching a classic like Snow White because by this point, even though they had some remakes that did okay and actually pretty good in some cases, by this point people were tired and pretty much irritated with the constant releases of remakes. Of course, they would keep watching it and paying to go see it, but you know, that has been kind of dwindling down, especially after the pandemic. So after seeing how things went down with them announcing, basically casting Halle Bailey as the Little Mermaid back in 2019, I think they probably should have known that things were going to be tense if they, like people say, race swapped another character. Now, in Snow White's case, I do think that Rachel is very fair-skinned with a super slight tan. I think she definitely favored her white side in the physical sense. She is mixed, and you can definitely see that when it comes to certain features. But when it comes down to her skin tone, I didn't really think that she was that far off from what actors that typically take on the Snow White role or have taken on the Snow White role in the past have looked like. But those are just my thoughts. I thought that it wasn't as drastic of a difference compared to, like, you know, obviously Ariel from The Little Mermaid. She's clearly white, you know, in the cartoonified or animated versions. And obviously you have this big jump from that to a black actress in the live action Little Mermaid remake. So it wasn't as drastic as that in my opinion, but yeah, I just thought this was pretty interesting. Now, regardless, I do think that Rachel exacerbated the remake problem a little by opening her mouth. Definitely made it an even bigger problem, for sure. And I really thought that she needed way more media training before even stepping in front of those cameras. But overall, I do think that Disney should have done more to protect her prior to her basically doing those interviews, both physically and online, and also kind of put her through more rigorous PR training, like I said, before putting her in front of people to basically talk about the film, because they really set her up for failure by not doing more to protect her from herself.
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Because she hadn't been in too many films prior to this, let alone, such a major one as this. So backlash kind of comes with the territory, but I don't think that she fully grasped that before responding to it and putting too many opinions out there that would stir the pot.
This is a classic film that established the Disney name, and now I'm a part of that legacy to some degree. It's not something I take lightly, and it's just the most emotional experience to see little girls dress up as Snow White, and I hope that they will for years to come.
But hopefully Rachel could learn from this experience, but she does give off a slightly narcissistic vibe most of the time.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious.
So maybe not. Maybe she just kind of brushes it off and does the same thing again.
The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere, everything I do, people will wait in line to see. The dumbass things I've said, I don't absolve myself from that. I'm not sitting here being like, I'm 21, please forgive me. Like, the stupid shit I've said and done is stupid shit. But I just want to say, in my personal life, I intend to move forward with a lot more grace for myself as I grow. There is a lot that I don't know, and I won't know it until I learn it, until I feel it, until I understand it, until I can see it in my hands and say, I am not broken. My break is not my end.
But at the moment, she's not suing anyone and probably hasn't been dropped from any projects. But moving forward, I'm definitely curious to see how the performance of this film is going to impact her career in the years to come. But you guys could let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll catch you all in the next video.